Hello. To make long a long time short, I figured out how to take shape keys from a character and add them to clothing in a more automated way than actually just manually recreating shape keys. So as an example to show, I have my character that I made and I have a few shape keys on them. I can do something such as set this, but obviously I would then need to set the corresponding shape key on the pants. Does not exist. So one of the things that I can do, that I discovered that I can do, is go to the pants, go to the modifiers, add a modifier to it, and the modifier that helps here is Surface Deform. Add that. I'm going to go down, take it, and move it to the top, because that's where it would work best here. The target is the character, or their body in this case. I'm going to leave these as default, but essentially what these do, strength determines how much it follows it, so it's only going to change. 1 means it's going to follow the closest part of it, half means it's only do it half as much, and you can actually make it more or less or whatever, but I'm going to keep it at 1. I'm going to then bind it to the character. Once bound, now if I go back to the character, go to the shape key, and then perform the movement, you'll notice that it actually moves with it, and it will do this for almost all of them. Now it's not going to be perfect. Really exaggerated ones will perform differently, and this also doesn't perform as well on baggier clothing. Like the shirt for this character would not work well on because the surrounding areas on it aren't as close to the body and thus won't move as strictly with it as well. However, you can then make it into a shape key by going in, setting one of them, like we'll do thighs, go here, and then what you can do is go back to it and you can save it as a shape key. Now what I can do is I can unbind it, it'll revert because now it's no longer following it. However, if I go back, it has a shape key, and it is the shape that it was with the modifier. This is, in my opinion, pretty useful, and I couldn't find anything, at least in my little searches for it, and to make things actually easier, I went ahead and made a script to assist with it. So I'm going to go back to this one, rebind it, select the character first, then my pants, because that's the way I got set up. I'm going to go to scripting, have my little script here that I made, hit play on it, and if everything went well, what I should now see if I go back to layout and on the pants is no. Just had to change this number to a 1. For some reason this worked earlier with the cues on 0, but didn't work here with the character. Either way, with 1 now, if I go ahead and run it, which again you can try to replicate this if you want, also try to see if I can post it somewhere. The whole point of this was that it essentially goes through and adds all of the shape keys to the pants from the character, by essentially just looping through and doing exactly what I showed earlier of just manually adding it. So now if I go back and unbind it, so that way it's no longer attached to the character, I can actually follow through performing them. On top of it, it has transferred all of them. Also, to try and show how it would work on baggier clothing like the shirt, I went ahead and bound the shirt to the body, added a new shape key that here changes the character's chest size. Here it reduces it, and while it doesn't look terrible, it can be noticed that it also has trouble with like the center of the shirt as a result of there not being any close geometry there. So for stuff like this, I would recommend using this as like a rough base and then going through and then applying it or saving it as a shape key, unbinding it, then going through, and if you wanted to like edit it, you could go into it, activate it, and then like either sculpt it or whatever to try to help fix it up, because by default it's probably not going to look that great. and you can go ahead and like smooth out some of the weird deformities that it creates to try and make it look a little bit better. But yeah, you probably need to do a lot more than that for necessarily what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is just like a little rough job. But either way, hopefully this helps get the idea of what exactly it does that messes that up. Weird. That's not how that looked before. Either way, yeah. Also, to just note it, I figured out the issue with that there is I have the multi-res modifier. If I get rid of that, the weird issue actually goes away, and it only preserves the sculpted changes in the shape key. For some reason, it was adding it to the base because of the multi-res modifier. So, yeah.